You guys, this show is great.
Tsunami Studios.
So, J.G. Quintel, a guy I absolutely adore and love a lot of his work. I love Regular Show. I'll tell you right now, I have not seen every episode of Regular Show, but I like it a lot and I love what that show is about and what it represented. We're back with a show that I think was supposed to come out a while ago, but I think it got put on hold until HBO Max came out. It is close enough. Let's sum up this show a little bit before we jump into a little bit more of the stuff about it. If you are in your late 20s, early 30s, life is weird because you are kind of figuring out who you're going to be for the rest of your life, and you've kind of settled down into yourself. You've maybe acted a little bit wild in your 20s or in your teens, and now you're figuring out who you are. So this show follows the adventures of a newlywed couple, Emily and Josh, and what they are doing is navigating through the troubles of life and figuring out what they're going to do with it. They have a 5-year-old daughter, and now they are just trying to figure out who they are and what they be while still holding on to a part of themselves that they aspire to be, you know, which I think is really cool. What I love about this show a lot is that it doesn't shy away that we are in a modern era where modern technology and inventions can become real jobs. We have Josh struggling and trying to become this video game developer, and that is a big deal because that's a real job now. That wasn't a job a long time ago, but this is a real thing that people are striving to do with their time and their creativity. And I think we should emulate that in our media, and we're doing that here. Emily is an aspiring songwriter. We're doing that here too, and I think that's very important stuff to see, and I'm loving it a lot. This show really captures the modern era of like just life. You know, when you are in your late teens, in your early 30s, and you're trying to struggle while still being creative and wanting to go down that route. It feels like a natural progression from what Regular Show was, you know? Regular Show was this, I'm hanging out with my buddy, we're chilling, we're having fun on the job, we're doing all this crazy stuff, we're trying to pick up girls, just have this cool, fun time. Close enough is the next step of that. After you've had the fun, crazy time, here you are with your wife, you have a new daughter. How are you financially going to survive? What choices do you have to make in order to get where you are? That is really cool, and that side of the story I really like, because it's also just kind of like, your dreams are going to change and your aspirations have to become realistic. As a young guy myself, I'm on that boat where it's like, oh, I'm going to be the next big thing. I'm going to write all these important stuff and make money and money and money and all that stuff. And then you just got to realize, maybe you won't. You still try to get there, and you should always try to reach for your dreams, but you have to be realistic about that approach and just kind of do what you need to do in order to get there. And whether that be, you know, having a job where you install TVs, like in this TV show, or whether it's you make videos online talking about the stuff that inspires you, so then hopefully one day somebody will see what you created and they will want to understand what your voice is or want to hear what your voice is, like me. And man, this show is surprisingly funny too. Moving aside from all the realism and all the stuff in the real world that I understand, and I'm starting to understand more because I'm getting older, this is really funny. Like, I remember sometimes in Regular Show, I chuckled and I laughed because, yeah, I get it. I know what the joke's going for, I understand what that is, but I also just think there's a lot of humor in this series that it just focuses on the mundane life stuff that makes it that much better and more funny. I audibly laughed a bunch in this show because there's just a lot of great jokes in here that I don't think a lot of people would see as the joke, but it lands really well. And I really enjoyed that. Just jokes about the mundane stuff. But when this show gets out of hand, it goes into the crazy aspects. That's when it gets really funny too. Jokes like anybody under 30 doesn't know what Logan's Run is. Jokes about, you know, having a dog boy, a talking dog who's acting in movies. Jokes about killer clowns chasing you down because they can make balloon animals with their penis. There's a lot of funny stuff in this show, and it all works really well because it could easily just become, you know, oh, it's the mundane, it's a sitcom kind of thing, but they also go into these outrageous ideas of like, oh, there's an orphan gang, oh, you're trapped inside of a sitcom in another dimension. It's going to a bunch of these different places, and it all works perfectly, and it feels like it blends naturally into what the show is already trying to tell you, which I love to death, because that is what amplifies the show to the next level for me. When it takes the mundane, the everyday, like, oh, our daughter's off to her friend's house for the night, finally we could get our errands done uninterrupted. That's funny too. I understand that more. I'm a far cry from having a kid myself. I'm still a young guy in my 20s, But I understand kind of that lifestyle of like, you know, you just have that child around you, that energy around you. Now you need a break to get everything done you had to. And it's just like, oh, we got to struggle to do certain things, but to get where we are. I like that stuff a lot. I think it's really cool. One of my favorite episodes of this show, without getting too spoilery, is the character of Josh remembers an old video game he was working on. And it was like the top shit. Everyone in the industry loved it. And one of his friends was like, this is really good. But now his friend's like this multi-millionaire guy who sold his game. And now Josh is like, how am I going to get there? Because I want to get there, you know? But I also want to provide for my family. And that just dichotomy, it's brilliant. Everything about this show is brilliant. I don't understand. Like, it's the perfect comedy for the modern era. You know, I really do think that. It is everything that a modern comedy should be. It has the heartfelt moments of the struggles of life. There's real love involved in there, and it's really fun. But it's also like, yeah, we'll go over the top and give you your moments. We'll give the kid sugar. She'll go hyperactive, climbing on the walls, because that's really funny stuff. And, you know, it's just a bunch of interesting stuff like that. We'll have, like, a robot that is to help your daughter learn math, but when you break into the program, it's going to go against you and try to kill you. That stuff's really fun. Yeah, we're going to live with a divorced couple who's still together and have the entire joke about divorce sex. That's really funny, and all that works really well. I mean, there's nothing about this show that I felt was off or didn't work for me. Every scene worked, every episode worked, every story worked, and it's really funny. And I think especially if you are learning how you want to be, if you are an aspiring creator of anything, and you were like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to be the best, I'm going to do the best thing ever, and be the next powerful figurehead in whatever industry you want to go into, you should watch this show and just understand, yeah, strive for those dreams. You are going to get there someday. And you're going to try to get there every day of your life, because that's what you want to do, that's what you're passionate about. But sometimes you have to focus on just being close enough to that, you know? You are close enough to that success where you're still happy with what you're doing and you're happy with yourself and you're in a loving, committed relationship. You shouldn't sacrifice love for your dream. You can have both, or if one doesn't exist for you, that's fine too. And it's just really fun that way. If you like Regular Show and you were watching Regular Show when it came out on air, you were probably, maybe you were in your teens, you were in your early 20s, I recommend you go watch Close Enough. It's on HBO Max. It is 8 episodes long. And they're 11 minutes each, so it's 16 episodes in total. It's worth it. Like, you can sit there and you can be like, I understand this now. I'm feeling the same thing these people are feeling. And it's still funny, it's still relevant, it's doing some amazing things with the characters and the story, and a lot of people are going to enjoy it. So, Close Enough, it's like the first show in a long time. And I've liked a lot of TV that's come out this year, like Perry Mason, like Crossing Swords. I've loved a lot of that stuff. But this one just made me be like, yeah, I think I get it. I think I can still do what I'm doing here and strive for my other dreams and not be bogged down by the mundane life that I'm going to be living no matter what I'm doing. And that's really fun. And you know what? It's funny. It's straight up funny. Jason Mantzoukas is in this. Who doesn't love him? He's great. Everything about this was great. I highly, highly recommend watching Close Enough. Like, it's such an enjoyable watch, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it. So that is my review, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.